I didn't know so many other people knew about cloth, but yes, it's an old term, but yes, it's found its way back now, and it's the cloth revolution. It's the clothesa, Dr. Cloth, so yeah, it's okay. I don't mind at all. I'm Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng. Everyone just calls me Dr. T, which is great. I'm from Qwaqwa in the Free State, and I live in Johannesburg. I'm a medical doctor with a specific focus on sexual and reproductive health and rights. Growing Qwaqwa has shaped me, I think, to be fearless. I grew up without feminist scholarship or books or text, but I lived and saw feminism. I grew up in a family with my mom and my aunts who were loud, and they were laughing out loud, from their bellies, and they were full of joy. It's important for me to keep referring myself as Tlaleng Wana Qwaqwa. It's important for me because it locates me within a particular community, in a particular story, in a particular moment. And, those are the stories and the lived realities that drive my activism and who I am. My interest to study medicine has always been there. My mom has actually a great story that she tells about how when we go shopping for groceries, and the expectation is that kids will be in the toy aisle or in the toy store. But I just loved the first aid kit aisle, because then I would, have all of these consumables to choose from, bandages in different colors and cartoons and all sorts of things. And my mom actually had to be quite creative and start buying Smarties, for tablets, because I took it upon myself to really just medicate and treat all my peers, in the neighborhood. My focus on sexual and reproductive health and rights, again, was very organic. I knew that I always loved working with young people, and I think it's because at the time, even when I was at medical school, I was also that young black girl who was trying to understand her body, navigate sex and sexuality, boyfriends, relationships, and all those types of issues. And I know for a fact that even where I am today, it's not because I'm the most hardworking or the smartest of the group of people I grew up with. I had chances and access to services and care that others didn't have. I know a lot of young people who were young mothers and couldn't go back to finish high school or couldn't go back to finish tertiary education. I know a lot of people who are rape survivors, and I've seen the anguish and how the trauma lives with them, for their whole life. And there was a point when I asked myself, which medical specialty can I do that will ensure that I can have impact in terms of policy, the politics of health, and have a direct, measurable, positive health outcome in the lives of women. I do focus on safe abortion access because, it's such a simple, safe medical procedure that no one should die or suffer lifelong complications because they couldn't access a safe procedure within a health facility. And I think as a country, that's where we are failing to translate our constitution and the Bill of Rights that guarantees access to health and reproductive health, and all the policies and the health laws. We fail to translate that into services. We fail to translate that into dignified care. It was important that I write the book, Dr. T, A Guide to Sexual Health and Pleasure. I took about 12 years before I wrote that book, having already been in the SRHR space. And it was important because I had to learn also from my patients and from women that I was coming across in terms of what are the real challenges for them. Despite women knowing everything they need to know about screening, about treatment, about HIV, why are we still not using condoms? Why are we still leading the world with new infections? Why are we coming late for our results for pap smear screening? So there was a lot that I wanted to understand, because anyone can Google symptoms for endometriosis, but there was something extra that I wanted to bring that was clearly South African and an African influence. So even the references I use in the book around menstruation and my experience with my first menstruation, you can't get that story out of any other medical book, because a lot of it is written by, either white people or people who are not even, South African. I see the book as part of my activism. I was actually in Geneva in February, end of February, delivering a report to the pre-working group for CEDAW. While we were there, I then found out that, the UN is looking for the next cohort of special rapporteurs. And I came back home, thought about it a little bit. And the more I actually thought about it, I was like, this actually does make sense. A lot of my work already had found, expression in the UN in different advocacy spaces. So it was really nice when I got that email that showed I was the preferred candidate, and that it's the first time that a Black woman is occupying that role is important. I was like, yes, damn right, it's about time. Good move, UN. My vision for the role as UN Special Rapporteur is to really be deliberate about recentering marginalized communities and vulnerable communities, whether it's the extremes of age, whether it's gender or sexual minority, whether it's the issues of differently abled people, migrant people, undocumented migrants, refugees, issues of climate change, and show how, for me to be successful, I need everything else to be successful.